So I saw two videos recently that just made me laugh so much. And they just drove me crazy. And so I was like, oh my God, I have to say something. So here's where I am, right? Like, I'm in a library, which is so freaking much money goes into a library, right? Like, there's like all these books are expensive. This beautiful ass buildings are expensive, maintained by huge quantities of staff are expensive for free. It's paid for by grants and taxes, which come out of our society, which come out of like the stuff we've created and sold, has funded all of this stuff. And I'm here in this library studying for my MCAT so I can become a doctor and help people, right? And in that career, like, I'm gonna make a not insignificant quantity of money. Like, this is crazy, right? Like, this is really crazy. The library helps so many people. Libraries are freaking magical. They're great places. And they are products and participants in our society, generating and processing huge quantities of wealth. Wealth isn't bad. Wealth is a mechanism. It's concentrated power, right? Like, what money is liquid power. And it is good for people to be able to do stuff. I like people, I like humanity, and I like humanity doing things. Okay, so I watched this video recently. It was like a Jim Carrey interview on some red carpet somewhere, and he like was completely like making a fool of the interviewer and just ignoring them and like, oh my God, I don't give a shit. Like, this is like, what's there interesting about this? What's good about this? This is just bullshit. This is just like, like celebrating nothingness. This is all meaningless. I'm like, no, you dumb ass. Like, this is celebrating freaking fashion. This is celebrating like art. This is celebrating beauty. This is celebrating the society we've created, which is freaking good. I like the society we created. Like, never in human history have there been like this few like starving people. Never in human history have humans lived this long. Never in human history has there ever been so little freaking oppression, and we're living in a hellscape, but it's so much less of a hellscape than has ever existed before. And that is so cool. And fashion and the arts are celebrations of the humanity that did that, of the creative spirit, of the desire to see beautiful things that led us to this, right? And so he's like, no, nothing important's happening here. It's all meaningless. It's all worthless. Bullshit. And I'm like, oh my God, Jim, like, you're a good dude. Why don't you recognize that? I watched the outrage, the performative outrage at like Haley, whatever her name is, at the Met Gala. And like, you know, because I'm a vulture and we all want to watch an apology video and be like, oh my God, they're such a bad person. I'm such a good person for watching this apology video. How dare they do whatever caused them to need to apologize? So I'm like watching that just because I like, you know, being sick in the head. And like, I'm watching this apology video and I'm watching this outrage and I'm like, you really are like ginning up this outrage, right? Like, because she points out in her video, so freaking many people just go and use her sound, let them eat cake, no complaints. And people are like, no, it's bad because it was at the Met Gala. Don't you hear how tone deaf that was? How is that tone deaf? The Met Gala is amazing. It's a charitable event celebrating freaking beauty, celebrating our accomplishments as a society, as a world. This is good. And like, I don't know, I like it here. Winston Churchill, he said, like, look, we defend civilization because we're defending the freaking art. Like, that's all it is here. Like, we're defending the culture and the art, which is why we gotta fight Nazis, which is why we have to go to war. Because this is what culture is about. Like, this stuff people say is just bullshit. But I think beauty is good. I think humans are cool. I think it's cool to celebrate a society that's done so much for so many people. Like, man, I think about like Norman Borlaug and like the Haber process and like the billions and billions of lives that were saved. I think about like growing up as a kid when it was like, when we were really poor. McDonald's was magical because it was such a cheap ass place where I could get fries, which are a complete protein, and a burger and some milk, and like make it through the freaking day for $3. That's magical. And like the elite, who have been gaslit into hating themselves, this like cult of self-hatred, are like, oh, McDonald's is like evil corporate, bad bullshit, bad food for bad people. No, like McDonald's was like the best thing in the world as a poor kid. Taco Bell was like the closest I ever got to a scholarship. And I'm so grateful for these two like trash, nothing parts of our culture. They're so beautiful. Like, and the things that we reject as our trash are more beautiful than anything that existed in history up to this point. Like billions and billions served. How beautiful is that? Like, that is crazy that we're at a point where one freaking organization can feed billions and billions of people. Feeding people is a good thing. Meals are a fundamentally good thing. I don't need to argue about it beyond like, oh my God, we're eating, this is good. And I just think that there's this cult of self-hatred. There's this cult of like, we gotta be ashamed of ourselves. We gotta like despise our culture. We gotta despise society. No, bullshit. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that humans did stuff, and I'm happy we're gonna continue to do stuff. It makes me so glad. And so like, dunking on Haley Bailey because she quoted a fictional quote from a despotic ruler in the past. Sure, you shouldn't quote despots, I think is the rule. But dunking on her because she's participating in the Met Gala, like, oh my God, no, celebrate the Met Gala. And like, recognize, oh my God, we don't have those despots anymore. We've developed as a society and we're continuing to develop. It makes me so happy. I'm alive. We have beautiful things. We're in beautiful spaces created by the huge amounts of wealth that our system has created. And I'm not gonna reject it all out of hand. I'm going to improve on it. I'm not gonna be lazy. I'm not just gonna keep showing up and just changing nothing. I'm gonna make incremental, testable, reversible improvements in an intelligent way. But I'm not gonna throw it all out of hand. This is freaking magic that would have been incomprehensible, completely unimaginable to the people in the past. This is wealth. This is incredible. This is such a beautiful thing. And I'm proud that I get to carry the next generation of this thing forward. And I'm gonna work hard to do it right. I'm so grateful to be standing in this culture, in this world. I'm so grateful to be getting the Met Gala, to be watching random ass fashion shows and red carpets. It's not meaningless. Jim Carrey, you should freaking apologize, you freaking clown. This isn't meaningless. This is the most beautiful thing that's ever existed. And I hope that your nihilistic boomer tendencies just go the way of the dodo. Like, there's like your like commitment to this like aesthetic of like individualism and like deep meaning and like, oh my God, I have to do something very unique and real and activistic to have any sort of meaning. It's shameful. It's so stupid because it's such a surface level morality. Oh my God, are you not seeing the billions of people whose lives are saved, right? Like, what's the in vogue activism right now? It's like, okay, tuberculosis, right? Like, it's so cool to dunk on tuberculosis testing companies because like they're charging money for their tests. Yeah, we should. They're charging a lot. That's kind of idiotic. At the same time, oh my God, they made freaking tuberculosis tests that like accurately diagnose it. That's gorgeous. That's amazing. We live in a system that incentivizes people going out and doing that kind of thing again and again and again and again and again. It's not just tuberculosis. It's every freaking imaginable disease is going to be cured. So many have been cured, and we are on our way to a beautiful future. And so I just want to encourage you, don't just be an asshole who sits there and is like, I hate the system. Look at the system. Look at history. Look at how beautiful what we have is. Okay, that's all I got.